to cocaine.
We're just gonna keep talking about that.
Right.
It's fine.
The grandma's grandma's addicted to cocaine, and I actually did do that.
Quotes out like what?
Yeah.
What?
Like in Sims.
Yeah, I'm like
in IRL.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I had the grandma addicted to cocaine, but she was addicted
Bro,
to.
people are gonna take these comments out of context. They're just gonna post like that one.
Yeah.
Bit.
Right. Yeah. Well, I had her doing cocaine and speed, and and weed. So she had a lot of, yeah. So she had like a combination
All
of
at
things.
once?
Well,
Or like one after the other?
yeah. So
Woo.
it was a lot.
Is she okay?
But she's still alive. Yeah. So
Shit. Alive and kicking.
yeah, she was. She was doing it with her granddaughter. So it was
Wow.
fine, yeah.
Speed and weed. Speed and weed.
Yeah.
Speed and weed.
It's a casual combination
Wrestle,
of that.
flow. Yeah.
Yeah. Speed and weed. Speed and weed. Cocaine.
Is that a song?
No.
You just made it up. It's gonna be now. It's Sims national anthem.
Speed and weed. Speed and weed. Cocaine.
Oh,
Yeah,
guys.
that's definitely gonna be a clip.
Okay.
I know that there's a song like that. Like, is it the
Oh,
King
definitely,
of Queens, right?
I don't know.
Doug and Carrie. No.
Black and yellow.
That too, I guess.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
No, but Doug and Carrie. There was okay. Anyways,
Hey, guys.
I think my egg
Howdy,
was peed
partner.
on, bro. Do you see that pee? Does it look
What?
like a pee stain on the egg?
Show me it, guys.
Is
The
it not a
Yoshi
shadow?
egg.
I think that might be a star. Yeah. On
A
this,
light reflection, maybe?
allow me. Right here?
Yeah.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that's me.
That's just, I'm like,
It's what is it?
It's just the shadow.
Oh,
Whew.
sheesh.
Okay.
Because it
like
stayed
Squelch.
there when I'm.
Right.
Yeah, might be pee. Is it pee or a shadow?
You got me again.
Shoot.
I can't believe you done it.
I can't believe you've done this again.
Oh God.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. How they went from British to Canadian, I'll never understand.
Yeah.
but you've got.
I don't
me
know either.
again. But anyways, what were we talking?
guys, wait. Yeah. What?
What were we talking about?
Well, this is kind of a segue from the episode before. Not really. Kind of not.
Yeah, because we totally
we-
filmed this on a different week.
Yeah, the episode we did last week, obviously.
Yeah, I gotta go to SmackDown later, bro.
Because I remember. Yeah, you gotta go today.
Today, later.
Wrestling. Speaking of wrestling.
There it is.
We could have a little powwow, a little banter session.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And also you, Jay, because you have a lot of ties to the wrestling world. That's how we met.
Yeah, exactly.
And we as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like we haven't really talked about it so much on the podcast. We've had like little bits here and there, but our wrestling history, and this is maybe potentially even before the E2, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my god, and people used to call it the Fed or like the
Oh
E.
yeah. Do they still
So
call it
like
that?
what?
Do they still call it
Sometimes.
that?
I think so. Yeah. Which
I
is
don't know,
crazy
I'm
because
so-
like you ever be in that position where you like tell people like, yeah, I'm a wrestler. They're like, oh, like WWE. Now you can actually say, yeah,
Dude, that was one of the like back when the indies.
Yeah.
That was always a thing where people that didn't necessarily watch it, and always like WWF.
Yeah.
Like they would say, oh yeah, like WWF. I'm like,
Yeah.
but now, yeah. That used to irk
feeling
you.
that
Did that
was?
used to irk you
Yes.
too? Like when people would
You're
ask
like,
that, and
yeah,
you're like,
except different.
no, kind of like. I mean, like the
Right.
same, but not.
Yeah, different
indies,
company. It's like their rival company.
Yeah.
or, like, yeah.
But that sometimes that's like all they know. So you're just kind of like, yeah, like The Rock, yeah.
yeah, I am the Rock.
They're like Stone Cold and
Yeah.
The Rock. I'm like, yes.
we are them.
Exactly
Yeah.
like that.
We are them.
But yeah, I mean, talking about like our independent career, what year did you start? Because I feel like we started around similar time. It's just that you were in TNA for a long time too, huh?
I was in so it
How long
seems
were you
like
in
I was in TNA for a long time. I was only there for like 2 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, maybe 2.5 years.
Flip, I thought it was closer to 5. I don't know why I thought that actually, because I don't.
I was so young
Support
though
them.
when I got signed that it was just like.
Well, when did you
everyone-
start your indies career?
So I was 17. Technically, I know it's illegal, whatever. But it was 2008.
Oh no way! I was 2007.
September 2000.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, I don't know.
Mine was at the very end though of 2008, so it was almost. 2008.
Yeah, like I wasn't wrestling. I was wrestling like once a month in New Zealand, so I don't know.
Listen,
how much that
Mick
even
Foley said
counts.
this, and I've always gone by this.
No.
It only like whenever you step into wrestling and you start wrestling, that's when you started wrestling. That's
Okay.
it. Yeah, like
All
it
right.
doesn't matter if you took a break and you came back. No, whenever somebody's asked you like how long you were wrestling, the day that you walked into a ring and
That's
you started
where you
wrestling,
started
that's when you
from?
started. And I've
Okay.
always gone by that. I don't know why, but also Mick Foley saying it, so like who might have questioned?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll listen to Mick Foley.
Yeah,
we
like,
yeah,
the
we'll listen to that.
Also like Cactus Jack, Mick Foley, and like Dude Love, like everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like he
Yeah.
knows. So I'm like, hey, who am I?
Well, what would he? Who am I?
Who am I?
Oh,
The question you.
yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, I don't know. I was just kind of like, I don't know, wrestle like once a month, but I guess by that logic, 2007.
Seven, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know why I add a number to every time I say that. I have to say instead of 2018. I'm like, no, it was
Dude, it's been
2008.
so long.
I'm like, what is this year?
Dude,
what is today?
I can't even think about every time people like ask the question like, how long have you been wrestling for? And I'm like,
A long periodically time.
do we have to do the math? That's crazy. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, for you and your independent career, do you look back on it like fondly, or you kind of just like it was a path to stepping stone to get to
For
where
me,
you
it
wanted
was
to
a
be?
stepping stone. Yeah, for sure. The only thing that I really, really loved. Stop.
Hello.
My phone is ringing somewhere. I'm
Buzz,
sorry. I don't
buzz.
know where
I
it's
kept trying to
buzzing.
find
It's hiding.
It's hiding
here it is.
somewhere.
Here it is. Here it is.
Oh, okay. Stop.
We're filming a podcast.
Yeah.
Oh.
Toroki. So yeah, the only things that I really, really love was working at Stardom, which it was so much fun.
Yeah, Stardom was
shenanigans
cool.
happened. I had to leave Japan early because Rossi messed up my visa, so I had to go. Yeah, I had to go home early, but
Yep.
at least I was there. I think it was about a month at that point.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but so
Flip.
before that
What a-
though, I did go to CMLL, and I got to train there, which was amazing.
In
And-
Mexico.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I
never
actually
did
still have that picture there when I was in Arena Mexico.
Oh
like,
no kidding.
on my wall, like in Arena Mexico, you have to. Like,
How long were you in Mexico for? I never did Mexico.
Not long, maybe like a week. And
Oh,
a half or
okay,
something.
okay.
But I was with Sarah, so I would just like after TV, I would just go with her to Mexico.
Sarah, stop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
guys were a tag team, right?
Mhm.
Oh shoot, I remember that
Yeah.
actually. Like remember you guys as a team.
I loved teaming with her. Plus, I brought out a side of her because I was so like. I mean, I'm much more chill now, but back then I was very like, "Arr," you know. So think of Liv, but like less annoying. So, but the energy.
Ah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's how I was back then. And so I just brought out a very fun like side of her. So, which I liked because she was kind of reserved a little bit. Like she was wrestler, but then after it was just like also wrestler, but now I
Chill.
move my hips and now
Oh
and
yeah, I had
now
a
we
little.
out here. Now we like, you know what I mean? Like she was very
Hey.
like
And you
gang
like
gang.
those days being like.
I did. I
TNA?
enjoyed TNA, especially
Yeah.
because like I got to experience a lot of things there with people that I normally would never get to cross paths with, and now in WWE, I'm actually doing it again with
With
like
the same people.
yeah, like when I got to see Sarah or like work with AJ. So AJ, Sarah, and Alex Shelley and I would like before the shows we would like train.
What year is this again?
So this is
Like,
2011.
no
and
kidding.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to AJ the other day. He came to New Zealand 2011 and did a seminar.
Oh,
He did-
really?
and I showed him pictures of it because I was a part of the seminar and I'm such an idiot. So like I started in 2007 and like for the first few years, because New Zealand's not a big scene, it kind of is a lot bigger now, but there's not much, right? We had like one promotion at the time, or like one big promotion at the time that I was just working. I go over to Australia every now and then, but when he came over, it was like a big deal.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, like AJ Styles, this is my chance. And then I
Yeah.
freaking like gave him my wrestling resume. I'm so embarrassed. I like handed it to him at the end, and he
That's
doesn't
not what I thought she
remember.
was gonna say. But.
What?
No, I thought you were gonna say I handed him my number.
Oh no! I had like a little folder that I printed off of like all the things you did because everything was not paper back then, but I
mean,
just,
it kind of was.
I
did
gave
the same
physical,
thing,
right? Yeah,
Mhm.
and then I gave it to him at the end, and I was so I was so stressed.
Aw.
Like nothing ever came. I mean, like not like on him. I'm like, I gave you freaking. That's not. I don't know. I don't expect him to do anything. You know what I mean? I was just trying to get my
Yeah.
name out
I mean,
there or
it's
something like that. But he
smart,
doesn't
though.
remember.
Like, yeah.
But it's crazy too because that seminar. the thing he does remember, I showed him a picture too. There's like a picture of us.
Oh, do we have it?
Yes, we do.
Ooh.
I'll send it to you too, Jay.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Where he's like giving us like a pep talk before.
Oh, there's baby you.
Yeah.
He's so cute.
So
I love
embarrassing.
that. Oh my god.
But at that seminar, he remembers this because we all did like matches for him at the end so he could critique them, right? One of my friends, Gus, he was a wrestler at the time, and he was like wrestling one of my other friends, and Gus was like in the middle of the ring. He's like a little bit bigger, and he caught one of my friends coming off the top rope in a gut buster. So like caught him like that, right? Went down into one knee.
Dean Malenko guy.
Yeah, big Dean Malenko guy. But he like, I think the ring jarred or something like that. This is probably like the worst injury I've ever heard of or even witnessed, let alone witnessed firsthand. But like, his femur bone popped through his hip bone. Yeah, I couldn't even like saying it. I'm like, it was so bad. And then I've never heard someone like scream like that before too. And we thought he was ribbing us, and AJ thought it too, because we were like, it was so crazy. And then like they had to call the ambulance and stuff, and then it was he remembers that because it was so horrific.
Scary,
yeah. And then even at the end, Gus was like, "What do you think of my match?" While he's in pain. I can't imagine that kind of pain. But that's how. Yeah, but like that was a thing.
That's scary.
That made everyone kind of second guess. Like wrestling is crazy. Like
he's
that
just
happens.
like, guys, so
yeah, and it was such a weird way to end, like, because the ambulance had to come taking him away, and I'm just like,
scary.
holy yeah, it was.
Obviously
so
he's never
scary.
wrestled again, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
After that, he would just kind of like didn't get back into it, which is that's
Understandable.
yeah, but insane.
Throw some dirt on your kid, you'll be fine.
Yeah, shoot, that's like
Yeah.
but yeah, that must have been around the same time he was with TNA and stuff too. But it was a big deal when he came to New Zealand because no one goes there. No one goes to New Zealand. It's just too far away.
I want to go. I saw some really pretty pictures when
if you want
Kathy Kellyanne to be there.
What?
Just Kathy Kellyanne to be there. Whatever. I'm just like, it's okay.
Yeah,
you're like
come.
so desperate following Dakota around. It's fine. But I don't need to follow her to New Zealand to be friends.
I want you to go to New Zealand. I want to show you around. Yeah.
I'll go.
I think you like it.
Bring
it's
a
really
podcast.
That would be crazy.
That'd be
We
so
could do it
cool.
in Hobbiton, you guys.
Whatever that means. Yes. We both are like,
In Lord of the Rings, the hobbits, they live in the grassy, like, things with the circle doors.
Okay.
wow.
Never
Who
seen
are
it.
you people? Just kidding. Like that quote from so
Yeah.
yes, we should go.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, I guess with wrestling too, like the indies, nothing really started taking off because I was just doing it for fun. There was no way in my mind I could comprehend making it outside of the country, let alone to like
Really?
WWE.
That's so
any
cool.
other, you know what I mean?
I love that.
It was just, we're so desolate, like I'm not desolate, isolated from the world. It was just not a thing in my mind. So I just was doing it for fun until I started traveling.
For funsies.
For fun. So fun. And then like I did Japan, and then I didn't even realize I was doing it, but like getting my name out there more. And then like one thing led to another. But yeah. But I think, fond memories.
You did Shimmer though, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did Shimmer, and that put me on the map too. I think like doing those shows, but that was a lot because a lot of money to be able to come all the way to the States. So in order to make that back, we did like customs.
True.
Woo, which Jay doesn't know about.
No, I'm like, what's that?
Yeah.
It's not really okay.
It's not what people think it
no,
is,
it's not like, it's basically people request custom matches, so they could be like, I want Zelina and like Thea and Charlie to like wrestle, and then I mean some of their requests can be weird, but you don't
Some
have
of them
to
can be
accept
weird,
them.
You don't have to do them. If you
Yeah,
want
like
to,
I want them to wrestle in socks.
Remember those? No, there was some like that. Or
Yeah,
like,
but
there
I
was
wouldn't-
some where it's like,
no.
oh, eat a sandwich during the match or whatever.
Very weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
got
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Okay.
But
They'd be
those
like-
was where like that's where we made a lot of like our money, which we had to do at the time. But there was one match I remember. It was a regular match. It was between me and Jessie McKay, Billy, and then at the end of it, she had to say to me, because she won the match and she stood over me, she had to say, in like a Texas accent or something like this. Don't you ever come back to my town, you hear? Or something like that. It was so, I was trying not to laugh because like all this time it was like, yeah, it was such a weird request.
God.
Yeah.
You know what? My one
But like
thing,
weird stuff like that, you don't know, like, I don't know
Yeah,
what
well,
people like.
the one thing
What
that
are
I
you?
noticed about customs, like during
Matches.
yeah, but see, okay, there's certain things that you don't know when you're just starting customs out. You don't really know.
Oh yeah,
You're
it was
just
quite.
kinda-
It
it's
didn't really.
weird.
Yeah, it didn't know really what I was doing.
No,
I
you're
just
just
knew
like,
that the Aussie
oh.
girls did it, and then I just was like traveling with them. I'm like, I guess I'll do it too. You know what I mean?
And then you're like, okay, this is what we're doing. But you do notice at your first match, the other girl who's been doing it more is talking the whole time.
yeah,
right? Isn't it weird?
And I'm like,
Okay.
what are you doing? Because you're doing it, you're just doing it in a like where the gym is here. Just like in a ring like that, there's not a crowd. It's just for the camera.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
it's
okay.
and then they can request things like, I want you to wear an 80s one,
Yeah.
which I didn't
Wow.
do. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
This is interesting.
Yeah. And then the worst is just like when they'd be like, yeah, don't you hate that? You know? Or like Paige's mom, I'm pretty sure she's like, I'm gonna kick you in the
Yeah,
C-word.
she was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then half the time you just try not to laugh because it's like very
She did kick me though.
yeah, she's kicked
Yep.
me too.
She,
Very like but I don't know.
But I feel like that's how you gain her respect, you know what I mean?
yes,
like, that's
you have
just
to
like, yeah.
be to the club with her.
I'm with it. you
but
know?
yeah, those times were so, and then you kind of just have fun with it because yeah. But you know, a lot of money to be made.
there is.
Yeah. Good times, good
And
memories,
yeah.
and then they looked after you too for the
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
everyone
love
was
Lexi.
chill.
Like, Lexi was
Lexi
great.
was cool. Yeah.
She always took care of everybody. Even if there wasn't like a thing for you, she would always make sure that everybody had
Yeah.
some. And she always had apples and peanut butter, and I loved having
I
the
know.
apples, little like
The little
trays.
tray, little food thing. God, some of those
Who's
days were
Lexi?
long though.
Lexi Fife.
She used to
Okay.
be a wrestler, like wrestle for Shimmer amongst some a few other places, but now she ran one of the customs places that we did.
Okay.
So she
Okay.
was trustworthy because
Yeah.
she was a wrestler and also like, you know, like I
She
don't
looked
know.
after the
She looked
girls.
after us and then never forced us to like if she's like if you don't feel comfortable with any of this, like you don't have to do it.
Okay, so all right. So whoever the they is, they contact Lexi,
Yeah.
and then she kind of goes through it, and it's like, okay, I'll pick the people who I want.
And sometimes they pick it.
They
like,
request
Yeah.
and then she'll be like, this is who I've got during this period of time.
Yeah.
And like,
Okay.
yeah, here's my
Okay.
roster
Yeah.
basically. And then
Okay.
you can kind of
You can customize whatever you want.
yeah,
Got
maybe
it.
they just want to see a specific match between us two,
Yeah.
and they could have it be like, and obviously, depending on how long the match is, they can pay more for it.
Okay.
10
Is
minutes,
it-
15 minutes, 30. I did a 30-minute match once where I was just getting beaten up the whole time.
Oh my god. I think I've done that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
like,
but they wanted me
easy.
to kick the guy in the crotch like over and over again, and I was just like,
yeah,
right?
And
Yeah.
you gotta have to think like,
Think outside the box though. Like,
Interesting.
how else can I kick this dude in the crotch without like making it the same thing over and over
Yeah.
again? you
Also,
know?
how do you do this without laughing?
Oh, I did though. I didn't care. Like, there was some times where I would just be like, "This is so stupid."
We
Like,
did like a Pokemon battle royale.
Did you? Oh, that's cool. I
Yeah,
would've
we all
wanted to
dressed
do
as
that.
we all dressed as Pokemon, and like I remember Nikki Cross was Snorlax, and she just fell asleep in the middle of the ring, and we just
hilarious.
rolled her out the ring.
That's so funny.
But that was
That's
fun
wild.
because
That's fun.
yeah,
I'd
we
pay
were
for
just
that.
doing stupid
Like,
stuff and like doing Pokemon.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
What a time! It feels like such a different era.
Yeah, I think Amber O'Neil did that too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did.
I did
yeah.
do for her also.
I thinking back to that time is so I don't know.
Yeah,
it
it's
feels like a
strange.
different life.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't feel like the same person at all.
I don't feel like the same person I was even in Disney TNA.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I look
yeah.
at those photos and I'm like,
Did you have any weird or like stories with any fan interactions or anything like that?
well, just
stand
people
out?
thinking that I legitimately hated America for.
Oh, that's right. You were talking about
Like,
that.
I was like,
Worked.
right.
You worked.
Yeah, but it was just
Got worked.
freaking weird.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I'm gonna say something right now that people are going to send to him, which a part of me is just like, who gives a f-? But then at the same time, because it legit happened.
Okay.
But we're in a somewhat better place now. So when I got to TNA, I was like a baby.
Yeah.
Like
How old were you?
I
like
19,
Yeah.
like 19,
Holy
20.
crap.
Like I was a baby.
Damn, you did like a couple years in the Indies and then you did TNA. That's cool.
Yeah, and guess what got me signed?
AJ.
My promo.
Oh, so I don't know why I said AJ, just because like we were just talking about him
She's
before.
like,
AJ,
you're
AJ says you gave him your resume.
She's like,
Oh no,
all right, throat coat.
Respect.
Type yeah. No. AJ was somebody I had to like really work to get his like, you know, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so your promo
It's so
got you
funny. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
real quick. Every time you say AJ, because I also know like, you know, AJ Lee and doing the whole thing. So I'm like, okay, which one are they talking about?
wait a minute.
No, I knew AJ Lee before WWE.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, her and I were we were on the Indies together in
I forgot you did Indies too.
in
Yeah.
New Jersey, and it's funny because she did a interview with Renee.
Yeah.
And they talked about fighting with my family, and she was just like, "Oh yeah, I think I don't even know if she called me Zelina or Thea, one of them, but she was just like, she's my Jersey baby," and I was like, I'm not from Jersey, but I am now. I'm forever your Jersey baby. Okay.
That's kind of cute.
Whatever
though.
you want.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
Oh,
No,
but
but
your
she-
promo got you signed. Though?
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
yeah. But
That's
and it
so
was
funny.
weird because but you know what, I did this with them though.
Yeah.
So like them being the
trainees?
trainees, yes. Sorry, I have something in my throat. So they had me doing like a backstage interview, and I think D'Lo Brown was
At a tryout.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so they wanted to just like throw me in there and to just see what happens.
Oh shoot.
And
Sequence
I believe D'Lo Brown was the one doing the interview, or he was there, definitely there. And they were like, "How does it feel to be the newest knockout?" And blah blah blah. And I was like, "Yeah, it's so great! Like, oh my god, I'm blah, 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 blah." And then all of a sudden, Angelina Love comes in and breaks the interview, and she's just like,
Oh, did you know that was happening? That they threw. Okay.
I didn't know that it was happening.
Oh wow.
No, but she knew
Sheesh.
that they asked her to do it.
Just
And-
to test you, kind of thing.
Yeah. And so once me and her had a back and forth, they were just like, "We don't even have to see your match. Like, you're signed."
That's awesome.
yeah. And I was just like,
wow.
because I didn't know. I just kind of was just like, all right.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know? So I just like
I'd
popped
love
off.
to see that promo back.
I wish I could have like a access to it. I really
Yeah.
don't.
Hold-
And then
it's
we
an
had a
archive
match.
somewhere.
They had me cut a match also before, or cut a promo before the match.
Okay.
To the live crowd too. So yeah, they just threw me right in there.
Yo, see, that would terrify the crap out of me.
I was way more like, I mean, I've always been way more comfortable on the mic than
Right.
whatever. But yeah, it's so funny. But like doing that back then with like Alex Shelley and AJ and
Oh,
whatever,
wow.
we do that now.
Yeah.
Alex was like, "Oh, do you want to like get in the ring before like the shows?" And I was like, "Damn, we're throwing this back to 2011 right now, bro. Like, isn't that crazy?" And he's like,
That's-
"Yeah,
Yeah. Different life. Same like people and stuff.
Same
It's weird.
people.
I remember like my tryout was in 2014 and it was held in Melbourne, Australia. It was when NXT, this is crazy too. NXT did like, they were doing their road loops. They did it in Australia. So they took NXT over there and did a few
Damn, I
shows.
didn't even know they did that back then."
Me neither. Well, I mean, like until I actually went to one, and the main event was Samoa Joe against Shinsuke Nakamura in
Such
a cage.
dope match.
Yes.
In a cage. That was the main event of a freaking live event. I was like, what?
That's crazy.
So they did the tryout while they were over there. There was about
Yeah.
50 of us from mainly Australia, a few of us from New Zealand, and then like surrounding areas, I think Malaysia. And then I did really
I know
well.
geography.
Yeah, that area. And then I did the tryout, and I did like well in the tryout, but it was the promo that I was like myself over
Really?
because they didn't have everyone do the promo. They picked like a handful of people that like I guess did well in the tryout to do the promo, and then yeah, it was freaking terrifying.
Well, okay. I'm actually glad you brought that up because as we talk about it, more things pop up in my head, and I think I know now why. Or not even that I know why, but it's just like thinking back to my very first promo that I ever cut for WWE. It was actually in front of Dusty.
oh
Yeah, it was at
that's cool.
FCW back in 2010.
Oh my gosh.
That was my first ever tryout, like for WWE ever. It was in
Wow, you did
2010.
during the FCW era too. What?
People don't realize that I've been around for a while. But yeah, but I remember like they had me cutting a promo, and I don't know why I just went like completely Nuyorican in the promo.
You been what?
Nuyorican, like I was talking like English, and I threw in some Spanish
That's
in there,
cool.
and I was just like, we out here, like, whatever, right? And Dusty comes out
Put it all out
behind
on the
like
table.
because I didn't know what we were doing.
No,
Actually, you know
that's
who
cool,
was in
though.
my tryout with me was Evilise.
Oh shoot! Wow.
Yep. And
did she get signed from that tryout?
I think she
You're
did.
right,
I
'cause
think
she
she
was-
did, and she did Tough Enough after that.
Yeah, that's right. That era.
But Dusty came back from behind like the little area, like the little control like area, and I was waiting for him to give me like feedback or whatever, and he literally just walks out and he's like, "Does your mom know you're here?"
What? Because
Yeah, because I was so little and I was only 18, so I was just like,
were you shorter then, or were you like?
I don't know, probably.
So cute.
But like I had a little baby face. I didn't know how to do makeup.
And then your promo
nothing,
would have just shocked them, I think,
you know,
because you're just so like good. I don't know, just
know,
like
it's
whoa.
Yeah.
So my response to him was, without even thinking, I was just like, "Yeah, she's outside in the parking lot." Yeah, I was like, "Yeah, you want to meet her?" Like, I didn't know that he was like, messing with me or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was just like, "You're like a little baby," and I was like,
I'm of age.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I can't drink, but I
Yeah.
mean, I can do moonsault." So he was like, "All right, cool." So then he threw me in a match with Trin was my tag partner.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap.
Yep,
Was she
against,
already signed at that time?
Yeah,
Or okay.
yep, against Maxine and someone else. I think Evilise was maybe it was Evilise and Maxine versus me and Trin.
Holy crap.
And I remember because back then nobody did a moonsault because now it's the prerequisite, but back then it was a big thing. You know,
I can't do moonsault.
well, they hiring all these gymnasts, dumb bitch. Can't stand y'all being so good at everything.
Being so good to flip and do all that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stop. But yeah, and I remember when I did it, it was like a big thing, and yeah, it was just. But
That's
then,
cool.
here's the thing, though. I thought it was the end of my world when they called me like maybe a few weeks after that, and I was like, "Oh, cool! I'm gonna get signed. Like this makes so cool."
flip.
Because they did tell me back then, like during the show, like, "Oh no, you're good." Like,
Yeah,
everything,
they're like, you impressed and
yeah. Like it seemed like that's where it was gonna naturally go.
Yeah.
And then Ty Bailey was the guy. He was basically the Canyon Seaman before Canyon. He
Okay.
was Ty Bailey.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, like so we're not gonna hire you."
They called you to say that?
Mm-hmm. They were just like, we're gonna let you like get some more experience and stuff like that,
Okay.
and then we'll like whatever.
Touch
but,
base.
Yeah, and I was just like, wait,
Aw.
really? So I fell to my knees. I remember I was going to the gym. I fell to my knees. I was crying so hard. I was so upset because I thought that was like the end. I was like, that's it. Like I'm
Yeah.
never gonna get signed.
Especially for the feedback you got.
Bro, I don't know what possessed me to call Norman Smiley, but I had his number from like the little thing, the packet that they give you. I called him and I was like, "Norman, they said that I wasn't gonna get like I was so upset."
You
and
called
I
him
was
right then and there?
Yeah.
What did he say?
He was just like, "It's okay. Like, don't worry about it." Like,
He's like,
yeah.
Who this?
Right? For real. No, but he picked up and he was so
That's
supportive
nice.
and he was so cool and he
He's
was like,
always, yeah.
he's the
what a
best.
cool
Oh
guy.
my god, yeah. But I remember when I did get signed and I did go to the performance center. He was like, "Hey, you remember that call that we
He
had?"
remembered.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's so cool. I love Norman so
Yeah,
much. He's
he's the
such a
best.
pure
That's
pure
crazy.
soul.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get signed off my tryout either. And I was the same
Was
boat.
it the 2014 one?
2014, I did not get signed from it. And same thing, they told me that I was like, impressed them and all this stuff. You know what I mean? So you were just like, ooh, like it's
Yeah.
exciting. And then I got an email. I didn't get a call because, like, I guess international calls or whatever. Basically, it was Canyon. And like, you did awesome. Everyone loved you, blah, 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 blah. Unfortunately, like, there's no spot at the time, which, I get it. It just ebbs and flows with opportunities that open up. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But he was like, just keep in touch, send like stuff that you want us to see every now and then. So I did that up until 2016, I think. And then they were doing the first Mae Young Classic.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's how my situation. And then I got the email that they were going to sign me at Customs. I was at Lexi's.
I remember I was there for this.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I was there for this.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I read the email and I like fell off
I
the
was
stool.
so happy.
Dude,
I was like,
and this
"Oh
is
my
before we were
God."
really tight,
Yeah.
too.
I don't know. It was just something about it. I was just like, that's so cool. Like, that's so cool.
But yeah, I read the email and I started crying and like hyperventilating. I fell on the floor and I was like, ah! So let's do a match now in socks.
Right, in socks.
But
While
yeah.
saying that your tummy hurts. Like, you know what I mean? Just random. But I remember that. And I was just like, wow, that's so cool. I hope that happens for me one day. Like, that's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Isn't that weird how all that stuff works out? But yeah, I mean, I feel like my indie career, I was there for like 9 years before I got signed. And then like it was cool and fun, but like also there was, I don't know if you've had any weird
weird.
I know, but I this one stands out. I don't know if I told you guys this, but there was one interaction that happened after, like at Shimmer, they would usually have
this one, but I want to hear it again.
yeah, at Shimmer they would usually have like after parties at like the local pizza place or whatever, but they would have everyone go there, including the fans too. And there was one time, maybe I told you guys this story though, but I was in a booth like eating pizza. I was just here, and then like how did it like work? And then Kelly Skater was opposite me. We were eating pizza, and she went up to go bathroom, so it was just me. And then this like fan and his son, dad and son combo, like older son, like came and like stood there. I was just like hi, and then they're like yeah, and then like the dad sit in front of me and the son sitting next to me, so I was like blocked in. I've never felt so like in my life. Like I don't know, man, like I'm like I need to go and I can't. I don't know, that just stands out to me because I'm like
that alone, bad situation.
And then there's no security really at these places because it's just independent scene, you know what I mean?
And they're cornering you.
Dude, I know, and I'm like I'd like to leave now. And you know what was crazy about that is the conversation that I had with them, or that they were having to me, because I wasn't really interacting in this conversation at all. But the son was like, he lived in the basement of his parents' house, and he was like, yeah, and like you can stay down there with me, and like there's like windows at the top, so like people like I could see it, and I don't know, the conversation went down that route. I'm like, this isn't normal, I would like to leave now, I want to get off the ride. Like this isn't normal behavior.
Right, no.
I love fan interactions, but like, and I don't know, there's like levels to this. I was hyperventilating. I'm like, I'm going home. I'd like to go home now.
Yeah.
I'd like to get on a plane
In
and
those
leave.
types of
That's scary.
situations, I try to imagine. So he's like, you know what? And I have a basement. You can stay in there. And I try to imagine.
Right.
You're like, what does he think? You're gonna be like, oh,
Let's go.
I've never been in a basement. Like,
Let's go.
Show me yours.
Yeah.
Safe. That sounds super safe.
I would love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like
That's something that you hear on the news.
Right.
Oh my god.
Let's go check it out. Like, no, bro. What do you mean?
I got candy in my van.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, that was just like
That's how they get me.
interactions.
You're like, go on.
Actually, yeah. That's where we got these
What
from.
kind?
Like, shoot.
Okay.
But
And
yeah.
then they're like chocolate, and you're like, no.
Yeah, get out of here.
Yeah.
I don't want your freaking basement. But hey, she's introducing to me to so many gummies I've never had before, and I love them. What? But for the most part, it just feels like a different time of my life. I don't know if it feels that way for you, but
100%.
right,
I don't know her.
me neither. And I can't really. I'll watch some of those matches back, and I'll be like, "What are you doing?"
I refuse to. I did have fun at Tommy Dreamer's promotion.
What was this one?
House of Hardcore. Me and Mia had 2 matches there.
Cool.
I loved that. And then House of Glory, like my cousin's promotion.
That's freaking.
Those
cool.
are the ones that I had like the most fun. It was Japan, Mexico, obviously TNA kind of counted, and then
And
those 2. Yeah.
And now here we are.
Mm-hmm.